Welcome back, fourth grade. Today is the first of 2 video sessions that we're going to have in grammar this week. We're skipping ahead a little bit in our book. Last week we completed page 42. This week we are skipping up to page 46. Because you guys are learning at home, I am trying to really cue in to those concepts that we need to make sure that we cover before the end of May is upon us. And it was going to happen quicker than you can imagine at this point. I know right now time seems to be traveling very slowly, but the end of the school year will be upon us before we know it. And I identified 6 key concepts that I wanted for us to make sure that we cover in in grammar this year before the end of the school year. Now, with that said, we are skipping over pages in our grammar book. You are more than welcome to do the pages that we skip. It will benefit you to practice them. You are not required to do them. You do not need to send them to me. There will be no grade applied to those pages, but it would help you to do a little bit of extra practice. All right, guys, today's the first time that we have 4 different patterns represented up on the board. And for that reason, I have in my hand the same thing you should have in your hand, and that is a grammar book. If you don't have your grammar book, pause the video, go get it. You're going to need it. All right, friends, go ahead and turn to your resource section. I'm sorry, not resource, your jingle section, not the resources. Your jingle section, I would like you to be on page 90. We're going to review the jingles for pattern 2, direct objects, pattern 3, indirect objects, and pattern 4, predicate nouns. All right, let's go ahead and practice, please, Jingle 15. I'm going to say it for you. I'm going to read it right out of my book. I want you to do exactly the same thing, and I want you to be loud and proud as you practice these jingles. All right, jingle number 15. A direct object is a noun or a pronoun. A direct object completes the meaning of the sentence. A direct object is located after, what kind of verb? The verb transitive. To find the direct object, ask what or whom after your verb. In contrast now, let's look at jingle number 16, which speaks to us about indirect objects. There are some similarities and a couple of key differences. Listen for 2 key differences. Go ahead and read jingle 16. An indirect object is a noun or a pronoun. An indirect object receives what the direct object names. An indirect object is located between the verb transitive and the direct object. To find the indirect object, ask to whom or for whom after the direct object. Your 2 key differences here are location. Direct object comes after the verb transitive. An indirect object comes between the verb transitive and the indirect object and the direct object. And then your other key difference is the question that you're going to ask: to whom or for whom? And remember that your indirect object receives the direct object. All right, let's go ahead and move forward to jingle 17A. The predicate noun jingle. A predicate noun is a noun or a pronoun. Have you noticed that all 3 of these jobs are noun jobs? They are direct object, indirect object, and predicate noun. These are all noun jobs, so they all can be a noun or a pronoun. A predicate noun means the same thing as the subject word. A predicate noun is located after, and here's a key difference, it comes after a linking verb, not a verb transitive. To find the predicate noun, ask what or who after the linking verb. All right, my friends, we have some sentences on the board today. There are 4 sentences, and there are 4 patterns represented. So if you're thinking, well, that means there's a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, you are right. You are correct. I want us to go ahead and look at these sentences and see if we can figure out what patterns are represented. Remember what we're looking for. Keep your reference section or your jingle section right there on your desk or on your table, wherever you're sitting, so that you can refer to some of those questions to help you figure out which pattern we're looking at. We're going to start with the very first sentence. The first sentence says, "Our neighbor is painting his house." Let's go ahead and ask some questions here. Our neighbor is painting his house. Who is painting his house? Neighbor. Subject, noun. What is being said about neighbor? Neighbor is painting. Painting, verb, is helping verb. Neighbor is painting what? House. Does house mean the same thing as neighbor? No. That means house is a direct object, and that means that painting must be what? A verb transitive. Do you know what pattern we're in now? I bet you do. Whose house? His house. Possessive pronoun adjective. Whose neighbor? Our neighbor. Possessive pronoun adjective. Now look at our sentence. We have a verb transitive and a direct object. So what pattern sentence is this? Yes, it is a pattern 2 sentence. So we're going to write subject noun, verb transitive, direct object, pattern 2, period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb, divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. There's the first sentence. Remember, these sentences are also in your book on page 46, and you are welcome to look in your book and follow along with me on the board, but please don't write the answers during this video. Wait until another day to fill in those answers on your test. Let's look at number 2. It's about my favorite animal. Let's read it. The monkeys in the forest were swinging in the trees. What were swinging in the trees? Monkeys. Subject, noun. What is being said about monkeys? Monkeys were swinging. Swinging is our verb, and were is a helping verb. In, preposition. In what? Trees, object of the preposition. The, article adjective. In, preposition. In what? Forest, object of the preposition. The, article adjective. The, article adjective. Let's look at this sentence. We have a subject noun and a verb. We don't have a verb transitive, and we don't have a direct object or an indirect object, and we don't have a helping verb. A linking verb. That means we are in pattern 1. Subject noun, verb, pattern 1. Check. In the forest, prepositional phrase. In the trees, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb, divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. Now, does in the forest tell us where the monkeys are or where the swinging is happening? it tells us where the monkeys are. So it is not a part of the complete predicate. It is part of the subject. Let's move on to our third sentence. My children gave me a ring for my birthday. Who gave me a ring for my birthday? Children. Subject, noun. What is being said about children? Children gave, verb. Gave what? You might be tempted to say me, but that's not it. They gave a ring. Does ring mean the same thing as children? It does not. Ring is a direct object, and gave is a verb transitive. Children gave a ring to whom? Me. Indirect object. A, article adjective. For, preposition. For what? Birthday. Object of the preposition. Whose birthday? My birthday. Possessive pronoun adjective. Whose children? My children. Possessive pronoun adjective. Now let's look at this sentence. We had a subject noun, a verb transitive, an indirect and a direct object. That means we are in pattern 3. Subject noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, pattern 3. Let's see. For my birthday, prepositional phrase. Period, statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. And we are finished with the third sentence. Moving on now to the final sentence. My sister is a contestant in a beauty pageant. Not a true story, but it could be. She is beautiful. Who is a contestant in a beauty pageant? Sister. Subject, noun. What is being said about sister? Sister is, verb. Is what? Contestant. In this sentence, does contestant mean the same thing as sister? Yes, it does. That means contestant is a predicate noun, and is what kind of verb? It's a linking verb. Remember, a linking verb is kind of like an equal sign because it's saying sister is equal to contestant. A, article adjective. In, preposition. In what? Pageant. Object of the preposition. What kind of pageant? Beauty pageant. Adjective. A, article adjective. Whose sister? My sister. Possessive pronoun adjective. Now we have a subject noun, we have a linking verb, and a predicate noun. What pattern is this? It's pattern 4. Subject noun, linking verb, predicate noun, pattern 4. Check. In a beauty pageant, prepositional phrase, period statement, declarative sentence. Go back to the verb. Divide the complete subject from the complete predicate. All right, friends, let's do a noun check. I think we're going to do our noun check today on the third sentence. We're not going to write it out. We're going to go through it verbally only. I'm going to pull out another color. I think I'll use my red marker here to underline all of the nouns. And then we're going to go through a couple of questions, or I think 3 questions for each noun. Let's look for the nouns in my children. Children is a noun. Oh, my marker doesn't work well. I'm going to try a different one. What is the job of children? It is the subject noun. Is it singular or plural? Plural. And is it common or proper? It is common. Find the next noun or pronoun. We have me. What is the job of me? It is an indirect object. Is it singular or plural? It is singular. Common or proper? It is common. How about ring? What is the job of ring? Ring is a direct object. Is it singular or plural? Singular. Common or proper? Common. Last one, birthday. What is the job of birthday? Object of the preposition. Singular or plural? Singular. Common or proper? Common. All right, boys and girls, that's it for our lesson in sentence classifying for this week. Again, these sentences can be found in your book on page 46. We'll go over a couple of new concepts in our next grammar video. I hope to see you soon.